Welcome into the strike zone. I am Joe Hunk out here at third and home where we are every single Thursday night until the Braves figure out that they don't want to be in the playoffs anymore, which honestly we all kind of hope is all the way into November. Now, don't forget that chat is open, so you can always start getting those comments in on Zone TV right now. You can also follow us on Twitter at 1045 The Zone. That's where we are also live. And of course, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, all those places you can watch Zone TV. Now, if this is your first time hopping in on Zone TV here on 1045 The Zone, just know that not only are we live every single Thursday night, but you have every single one of our 1045 The Zone shows live, starting with Ramon, Kayla, and Will every single morning at 6 a.m. Then you've got the Buck Rising show at 10, Blaine and Mickey at 1, 3HL at 3, and heck, even on Wednesday nights, I attempt to play Madden. Attempt's a really good word, but I did win last week going into the bye week, so we're going to be having a little bit of fun of that. If you've never witnessed the 1045 The Zone Gamer Zone, every single week we do a preview of the upcoming Titans game using Madden 23. So you can hop in on that at 9 o'clock at night. I guess I just felt like doing a 9 o'clock stream tonight just because I didn't get to do one last night with the Titans on a bye. But look at this view. I'm down the walkway just a little bit here at third and home. The main reason is we talk about all the great things that you can do here, but there's also a patio party that's going on right now. And in fact, let me turn around. Let me double check something real fast. Yeah, they're on a break right now. There's a girl you're going to be hearing sing behind me here in just a little bit as this patio party is going on. Look, it's a patio party. I know that it is a little bit chillier than what it normally is, but I'm telling you, it is a fantastic spot to be at here at third and home, because not only do you have Thursday night football going on, but we also have the Preds game against the Stars, which is happening like right there, which is probably about a half a mile behind me as we speak. And, of course, we also have preseason NBA. The cool thing is that as we're doing the stream tonight, there is no MLB playoff baseball. Now, the main reason that that's the case is because the Yankees and the Guardians went ahead and said, nope, not even going to try it tonight. Because they were scheduled to play, first pitch was supposed to be at 6:30 tonight in game 2 of their series of the ALDS, but the series got postponed one day, and now they're going to have first pitch tomorrow afternoon at noon. All right, so if you're in the Nashville area and you're a Yankees fan, this is what your plan needs to be. You need to be prepared, because at noon, you need to go ahead and start watching the Yankees game. And then right after that is going to be the Braves game at 3:30. And then you're also going to have 3HL going on where you can come out and hang out with us as well. So there's all of this stuff that you can do leading up to Tennessee and Alabama happening Saturday afternoon at 2:30 that you're going to be able to hear on 1045 The Zone. But yes, we have a ton of playoff baseball that is going on. I think Braves fans, hop in on that chat. I already see some people getting in on that. Yorkie, I appreciate you coming in, man. Chad, I see you there as well. Thank you for hopping in already tonight in this late night edition of the Strike Zone. It's kind of going old school, man. We're going 2021 on this thing. But Brave series tied at 1 apiece. Dodgers and Padres tied at 1 apiece. Astros up 2-0 after winning against Seattle earlier today. And like I just mentioned, Yankees and Guardians, they're only in game 2 of their series. And right now the Yankees are up 1-0 because Garrett Cole was absolutely lights out for the Yankees the other night. Now, what's crazy is if you missed that game today between the Astros and the Mariners, I'm curious as to if anybody else is in the chat is kind of like one of these people that you just want the Mariners to win because the fact that you just loved them so much in the 90s because of Junior. Like, did anybody just kind of always have a Seattle Mariners love fest just because of King Griffey Jr.? Like, that was totally me. I 100% diehard Braves fan. It was kind of like the passion that I had for the NFL whenever I was a little kid, or even in my teenage years, because I thought that I was an Atlanta Falcons fan, but what really turns out is I was just a Michael Vick fan. Then, the dogs and then jail and, that was just a bad decision on young Joe, okay? Young Joe made a lot of dumb decisions in his life, okay? Probably liking Michael Vick and the Atlanta Falcons in the early 2000s may have been one of those, okay? But see, that was the deal with King Griffey Jr. is you didn't like the Mariners. You like King Griffey Jr. And you go back to 1995 and you just think about that Seattle Mariners team and you were just like, man, that Yankee series, the Kingdome, place was fire. I think Little Big League had just came out, so we also had that Randy Johnson thing that just happened because it happened in the movie where Randy Johnson came out of the bullpen to try to get that win for the Mariners against the Minnesota Twins in Little Big League. I mean, the movie's like 28 years old, so if I'm ruining it for you, sorry, I apologize. But Randy Johnson comes out of the bullpen and he beats the Minnesota Twins in extra innings coming out of relief. And then we all had that Leonardo DiCaprio moment from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the meme that's extremely popular, the very moment that Randy Johnson did the exact same thing in the wild card game with the Anaheim Angels. We were all like, he did it. He did it. He did it. He did it. Randy Johnson came out of the bullpen just like he did in the movie. Don't even act like you didn't do that. No, don't even act like you did, because everybody did that, all right? If there was Twitter, we would have all said, we've seen this before. We would have all done it, and we'd had the Leonardo DiCaprio meme, and everybody would have done it. But we had this secret love for the Seattle Mariners just because we loved King Griffey Jr., whether it was RBI baseball, whether it was MLB The Show really wasn't a thing. I think in MVP baseball it was what, Triple Play? Yeah, Triple Play baseball was out, and people played as the Seattle Mariners. We all loved them. Okay, but this Seattle Mariners team does not have the firepower that Seattle Mariners team had in 1995, because the Houston Astros gave them every single opportunity this afternoon to win that baseball game. Pass ball pitches. You have your runner between first and second, couldn't make up his mind and couldn't leave fast enough, and he gets hosed on a pass ball that moved the runner over the third base. Like, there were just dumb decisions like that the Seattle Mariners made. And then, yes, Yordan Alvarez decided that he just wanted to put one 350 feet oppo and decided that he just wanted to go ahead and give the Astros the lead for good. Look, if you missed the play and you missed the home run, go find it on Twitter. Go find it. Watch the highlights on SportsCenter, MLB Network, or wherever you're watching your recap of what's happened today, which, again, today there was only one game. That pitch that Alvarez hit for a home run, opposite field, by the way, was this far off the plate. And he stroked a line drive into left field for a home run to give the Astros the lead, and they eventually won. Heck, the Mariners even had an opportunity in the top of the ninth to tie it up, and they couldn't do so. And the Houston Astros are now taking that 2-0 lead back to Seattle. Look, this is the first time that the Seattle Mariners will be hosting a playoff game since the 2001 ALCS against the Yankees. I'm not going to say a series is over 2-0. Obviously, the Mariners do not want to be down 2-0. Heck, the Braves didn't want to be down 2-0, and that's the exact reason why I'm so thankful that they won that game last night. But they are now in a situation where they're coming back home to a city that has been dying for a playoff game. I may actually say that I believe the Mariners are going to win Game 3 simply on emotion alone, just because of how that atmosphere is going to be at T-Mobile. I don't believe that we have ever truly seen that ballpark as hyped as it possibly could be, because we always do want to compare it back to the Kingdome days and that 95 ALCS and that 95 ALDS against the Yankees. Like, we always want to compare it to that and how just loud the Kingdome could be. I'm going to be very interested to see how loud that stadium could be, because look, believe it or not, and we saw it last night in the Braves game, crowd noise and emotion is going to play into every single game if your crowd is into it. So if the Mariners fans come out on fire and you could see Julio Rodriguez put one in the stands early in that ball game, that's absolutely going to be a momentum shift that could carry the Mariners to winning Game 3. And then who knows in Game 4. But then they have to go back to Houston for Game 5. But that's enough about the Astros and the Mariners. That game, they're now traveling, both of them, to the West Coast. You have Yankees and Guardians tomorrow afternoon at noon. Don't think the Yankees are as bad at day games as the Atlanta Braves. And while I'm here, John, you're right. I agree. Everybody hates the Astros. Brent, we love you. We're just not a fan of your team. Okay? We're just not. But I want to thank the baseball gods for something yesterday, because it is something that we've talked about and we've joked about throughout the entire month of September and parts of the month of October about this Atlanta Braves team. And I know that we have joked about it, but in the same way, I would just seriously like to thank the baseball gods for doing something that we really, really needed them to do. Thank you for causing a humongous rain delay at Truist Park yesterday, because first pitch for that Braves game was supposed to be at about 3 o'clock. Is actually, I think it was a 3:30 first pitch was when it was actually scheduled. And instead of having that 3:30 first pitch, it then turned into a 6:30 first pitch. And we joke a lot about the Atlanta Braves record in day games versus night games and all of that. But man, I am so thankful that the baseball gods decided that they wanted to bless the Atlanta Braves with a night game when Fox and FS1 did not want to do so, because we know how bad the Atlanta Braves have been. And just to see this all play out the way that we were hoping that it would, and the lights came on, and this Atlanta Braves team and Kyle Wright pitched absolutely fantastic. Kyle Wright going up against Zach Wheeler, who has been probably one of the top 3 pitchers in the National League so far in this season, since he has become a Philadelphia Philly, that now you are seeing that this Atlanta Braves team isn't as similar to 2021 as what we were hoping for, just because I don't think that this has the emotion. No Ozzy Albies in this. You got kind of have Acuna, but this team has some fire in it, but it's a different type of fire. Where last year it was Albies with the fire, you had the emotion from Acuna still being in the dugout and being there for the team, but you just didn't have the energy. And then eventually, and I'm talking about in 2022, the energy just hasn't been there. The confidence has been there, which is where when you're the Atlanta Braves and you're tied at 0 going into the 5th and 6th inning, and I don't know, a guy decides he wants to hit a blooper right behind shortstop, and Dansby Swanson pulls his best Jim Edmonds imitation, and he decides to just flail out just to make a catch, which was a humongous play. Yes, it was tied 0-0. There were 2 outs in the inning. It ended that inning. But at the exact same time, Bryce Harper was on deck. And you saw just a little bit later on that after the Braves scored those 3 runs, the first batter of the next inning was Bryce Harper, and he barely missed a home run to dead center field that could have got the Phillies right back in it. Because the biggest thing that can happen in a baseball game isn't you scoring runs. It's your pitcher and your defense going out the very next inning and them shutting down the opposing team and getting you back into the dugout. Because then not only do you have your momentum, now you've swung that momentum totally in your favor and taking it all away from the visiting team or the team that is currently down. That is why the top of the next inning or the next half inning, whichever way you want to look at it, is so important for a baseball team. And in the Braves game last night, up 3-0, that emotional inning, all of that was done with 2 outs, by the way, which even makes this even better. They score the runs, They come out in the very next inning, and they get the Phillies out, and they go back into their half of the inning with a 3-0 lead. Do not tell me that emotion does not play into the reason why the Braves won that game last night. 0-0. Acuna gets hit. And all of the time that he was down on the ground, he's laying there. There's no music. There's no sound from Joe Davis and John Smoltz. They're just kind of just sitting there going, okay, this isn't good. And you even hear kind of John Smoltz saying that of, those trainers are looking at him really long. And in the longer you're down, that's a bigger issue. And then Acuna stands up. And as he stands up, the organist was playing music and all of this. But you could see the trainer and Acuna's interpreter all having this conversation. And then Acuna picks up his helmet and he says, I'm going to first base. And he busts it down the line and goes, and the eruption that you heard from Truist Park in that very second, that game was over. It was tied 0-0. Zach Wheeler was dealing on the mound. And Acuna, doing what he did, flipped that game on its head. Because while Acuna was down, and you can go back, watch it, wherever you watch it. If you have MLB Extra Innings, if you watch it on MLB Network, if you DVR'd the game, no matter where you're at, go back and watch it. Because as Acuna is laying there, and John Smoltz and Joe Davis don't know what to do, the entire stadium begins to boo Zach Wheeler. And Zach Wheeler, unlike other times where players have been booed, he is a man on an island by himself on that mound, just taking it from everybody at Truist Park. Behind him, in front of him, to his left, to his right. He looks over at his dugout, and the players in the dugout are sitting there going, hey, you're okay. But literally 7 inches above them is some Braves fan flicking Zach Wheeler off. That's just saying, screw you. You just hit our boy. We just got him back. And this is his first playoff in 2 years because he got injured last year. And you just took him out, because that's what Braves fans were thinking. And it was a legitimate thought with the way Acuna was laying down on the ground. And he's booing, and you could start to see it on Zach Wheeler's face. See, Mike knows what I'm talking about. He's in the chat. He agrees. So you could see it in his face. The booing was getting to him. And he was emotional. He was trying to throw a little bit, trying to stay loose. But the whole time, the crowd was getting into his head. And then Acuna gets to first base. The crowd is erupting as he's running down to first. The man couldn't even hold his arm. Like, he's just basically sitting there with a dead arm. And he made a man move. Okay, and I tweeted out, he made a man move. And if you cannot get fired up with what Ronald Acuna did last night, pack it up, man. Don't watch any more baseball, because that was a man move. And that move alone got the Braves that win because of how it turned around the atmosphere at Truist Park. And that man went all the way down to first base, one-armed, got to second on a wild pitch, and then scored on a hit. And in the meantime, also generated enough energy so that the players behind him came around, and he scored 2 more runs after him to take that 3-0 lead. It's what we call a man move, okay? There's other words for it. Even though I'm on Zone TV, I'm pretty sure I can't say some of them, but you know the word that I'm thinking of. It involves and There are certain players, and you look for them. In high school, you can see these players. In college, you can see these players. There are men, and I say men because this is what you have to be to do what these players do. There are men that take a hit that they are not supposed to get up from, and they get up and they excel. I'm not talking about concussion protocol and to his hands and all this. No, I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is taking a line drive off of your back when you're a pitcher. And instead of falling down to the mound in pain and letting the ball roll away and the guy run to first base, you take that hit, turn back around, go pick up that ball and hose him out at first base. That's a man move. Okay, that is getting hit in the knee while you're at the batter's box, going down because you've heard something that doesn't feel right, going through all the moves with the trainer, getting up, running to first base, and then steal second base, and looking at the pitcher and going, do it again. That's a man move. It's in football when you're a running back and you get a snot bubble because you just get plowed while coming over the middle on a route because your quarterback left you hanging when you were coming out of the backfield and you got laid out by the linebacker, and you stand right up and you look at the linebacker and say, I'll be right back, and then the very next play you bust a 25-yard run. It's a man move. That is a move that if your teammates cannot get behind you and get fired up in the dugout or on the sidelines or on the bench, they need to go back into the locker room, because that is not for them anymore. Retire. Hang up the cleats. Take the pads off. Hang up your skates. It doesn't matter what it is. Right down the street, I just mentioned, Preds are playing. It's Forsberg getting lit up over the middle by a defenseman and popping right back up on the skate, getting back into the play and getting the rebound and scoring a goal. That's a man move. Call it whatever you want. There's different names that are going on through the chat right now, but call it whatever you want. What Acuna did, your kids need to watch that. That's not a get up and dust it off like, oh, you're going to be okay, son. Just dust it off. It's not going to hurt for a little bit. You can run it off. No. That is looking at it going, oh, yeah, I'm hurt. But there's no way on earth you're taking me out of this game because my arm is still functioning and we got a ball game to win. Again, concussion protocol is different. I'm not saying that if you have a concussion you need to play, because that's a totally different animal. But if your elbow is swollen, if you hurt, how many times have you heard your coach say that? Are you injured or are you hurt? Because hurt, you get up from. Injured, okay, you stay down. Acuna was hurt. The team thought he was injured, and he said, nope, I'm good. And then to add to the legacy, the man went out into right field right afterwards. Even on the game, they went down to the dugout, and they're like, yeah, we saw Brian Snitker go down to the end of the dugout and tell a player to get ready, and he went down and he went down into the walkway and he started warming up. We thought Acuna's night was done. Hey man, I appreciate the effort, I appreciate the energy, I appreciate everything you just did. Let's fold it up, bro. We need you. We need you for game 3. We need you for game 4 and possibly game 5. We need you there. Cooney said, nope, I'm going out to right field. Stop me. And he even said that afterwards. He said, I already missed one playoff. I'm not missing another one. And every single person in that stadium and every single Brave fan in the entire country, possibly world, thought that he was about to be out for the rest of this series. But instead, the man showed up. And he grew a pair. And he ran down to first base. And that changed the momentum of the game. Because after that, Zach Wheeler couldn't even find the strike zone because he was so messed up. So Seattle, use that momentum that you're going to have and when you go into your game. And make sure that you use that. Because I promise you, you won't have that in game 4. This game 3 is going to be something to watch. So make sure you're doing so. Now with the Braves, they're in a situation going into tomorrow night in Philadelphia. I want to say tomorrow night just because it makes the most sense, but it's a 3:30 first pitch, okay? As of right now, we still don't know who the Braves are throwing. I want to triple check that we still do not know, but as of right now, we do not know who the Braves are pitching. The idea and the thought is that it's going to be Spencer Strider. That's the thought. It's going to be his first pitching performance since being put on the IL. Yes, they're still undecided. Just want to make sure. But let's just assume and most likely say that it's going to be Strider. If you're a Braves fan, you want it to be Strider. Because the man's undefeated against the Phillies this year alone. He's 4-0 against the Philadelphia Phillies. See, and that's where this series is so unique. That's where the Padres and Dodgers series, as well as the Mariners-Astros series, is so unique, is because these are division matchups. These are not teams that only saw each other 5 or 6 times a year. Each one of these teams saw each other over 17 times this season. Strider faced Philadelphia 4 times this season. Aaron Nola, that's going on the mound for the Phillies tomorrow night, he saw the Braves 5 times this season. Every team is very familiar with each other before the series starts. You know, you talk about when playing a series like this, but by the time you get to game 4, everybody knows what the other team is going to be doing. They've seen all their stuff. They've seen all their players. They've most likely seen majority of their pitchers. All of that's taken place, so you know exactly what you're getting. The Braves and Phillies knew this going into this series. The Mariners and the Astros knew that going into this series. And the Padres and Dodgers knew that going into this series. So why the Padres threw Clevenger in game 1, nobody knows, because he almost has a 10 ERA against the Dodgers. You're dumb, and that's the reason why Yu Darvish pitching was your best move last night, and that's the reason why you got that win. Because he's your best pitcher. But Strider is going to be on the mound for the Braves tomorrow night. Not only is he 4-0 against his team this year, he's only pitched in 20 innings, so averaging about 5 innings a start. But he's already got 33 strikeouts against the Phillies this season alone. He's only given up 3 earned runs and 7 hits. If Strider is anything close to what he normally is, this is the pitcher Atlanta wants to have on the mound. As for game 4, no clue. Because if you have a 2-1 lead, then you may go Charlie Morton. If you're down 2-1, Max Fried is going to be the one that throws for you, and you go into a 3-pitcher rotation. Strider's going to be who the Braves are going to want on that mound. Because him in the playoffs, this is what we have been waiting for the entire season. Strider during the regular season throwing 102 miles per hour is one thing. You put some sweatshirts on like I got right now. That temperature drops. The hoodies are on. The weather is cold. You can see that breath in front of your mouth. Try facing 102 in that weather. Then it becomes dangerous. So Strider, if he does pitch tomorrow night, that's a fantastic pitching matchup. Why on earth are you wanting to play? No, sir.
The new 2020.
I don't really care about the new 2020 whatever. You're going to stop that right now. Wanted to talk during the stream. No, you will not. We're talking about Spencer Strider. You just chill. Aaron Nola, 5 starts against the Braves, 3-2 record against the Braves. The last game that he pitched against Atlanta was on September 23rd. That was that 9-1 blowout in Philadelphia. The reason why you may not want to put too much stock in it from the Braves standpoint, that was an order easy game where he gave up 8 runs in the first 4 innings. Yeah, I think it was 2 grand slams. It may have been 2 grand slams. I know it was 1. Wasn't good. Now, what's good for the Braves in this scenario is that this is Aaron Nola's first playoff that he's ever pitched in. His first pitching performance was against St. Louis last weekend. Or earlier this week, I should say. That other pitching performance that you saw, actually, no, it was last weekend. So the other pitching performance, he did get the win. 6 innings, no earned runs, 6 strikeouts, 1 base on ball. It was a fantastic pitching performance. As much as people talk about how good Zach Wheeler was, Aaron Nola was the player that Phillies fans were hoping for him to be the ace. This, if it's Strider versus Nola, buckle up, because your Friday night is about to be electric at Citizen Bank. Because you are about to have 2 amazing pitchers on the mound going at it. Now the question is going to be, is Strider going to be healthy? The fact that he is on the division series lineup and he's on the roster, that should show that he's at least ready to go. The other question mark is going to come about how healthy is he? If he gets on that mound and he's only throwing 96, 97, God, it sounds so weird to even say that. But if he's only throwing 96 or 97, it's not the same Strider. It's very much like what we saw with Aroldis Chapman. When Aroldis Chapman's not bringing it 100 plus, he's a lot more hittable. That slider doesn't look as deadly. The changeup doesn't look as deadly. And the next thing you know, players are being able to use that 97-mile-per-hour fastball using Aroldis Chapman's velocity against him, and they're hitting a ball out of the park. Pay attention to how Strider pitches. See where that velo is. If he's at 99, 100, 101, then Strider is healthy and good to go, and the Phillies need to be watching out. Because, again, it wasn't the fact that he only pitched 20 innings against the Phillies so far this season through those 4 starts. It's the fact that through those 20 innings, he had 33 strikeouts. That's going to be interesting. Now, the other series you're going to want to pay attention to, and we kind of joked around about, is Padres and Dodgers. What's great is you can watch every single one of those games right here at Third and Home. The cool thing is I mentioned 4 to 7 tomorrow is happy hour, half off draft, half off well drinks. There are some food specials as well that you can come in and you can see. The other thing is that once every Thursday night, like what we're doing right now, every single Saturday and every single Sunday, there are bucket specials for you that you can get while sitting here and watching football. But again, you've also got baseball all day tomorrow. You've got baseball all day Saturday and all day Sunday to go along with the college football as well as the NFL. But because it's Dodgers-Padres, you know they're always going to get that late start, which is exactly what's going to happen tomorrow night. Game 3. It's Blake Snell versus Tony Gonsolin. If Blake Snell has any sort of great pitching performance, the Padres can actually take a 2-1 lead. The problem is that Blake Snell has thrown 3 different times against the Dodgers so far this season. 2 of those resulted in a no decision. Those 2 were the 2 games that he only gave up 1 combined run through those 2 games while he was pitching, but the Padres couldn't hold the lead. The 1 game that he lost, he got ran out by the 4th inning because he gave up 5 runs. So which Blake Snell is going to be on the mound for the Padres tomorrow night? There's only 1 hitter on the Dodgers lineup that has actually hit Blake Snell well so far in his career. And that man's not even on the NLDS roster for the Dodgers, and that's Kevin Pillar. He's actually batting almost .382 against him. He's not even on the postseason roster right now. So Blake Snell doesn't even have to worry about that. This series, if there again was a team that was going to beat the Dodgers before the league championship series, the Padres are that team, because these division matchups are so evenly balanced because you have seen each other so much. There's a routine that you don't have when you've only visited a city once. Like if the Braves had played St. Louis instead of playing Philadelphia, they went to St. Louis 1 time this year. The Braves went to Philadelphia, it felt like 5 times this year. You know the hotel, you know the routine, you know how long it takes you to get to the stadium. You know how long the walk is from the locker room to the dugout. You know what it's like to hit inside the ballpark at different times of day. All of that. It's so familiar that it isn't even a factor anymore. Like Gonsolin. Gonsolin is 2-0 against the Padres so far this season. Blake Snell is going to have to pitch lights out in this game just for the Padres to have a chance. Because Gonsolin right now, lifetime, is 4-0 against the Padres. Lifetime. This season, he started twice against the Padres, only gave up 1 run. Now, both of those games were in Dodger Stadium. He didn't face them in Petco, so that could play a variable in this. The Padres have got to go up 2-1. Because if they don't go up 2-1, they're not winning this series. If you're a Braves fan, and I said this last week, I wanted St. Louis just because of the chop. And we saw that and how prevalent it was in these 2 games in Atlanta for the Braves. You know that you're most likely facing the Dodgers if you're Atlanta and you get past Philadelphia. You know that's the case. And you know that if you get past LA, you're most likely facing Houston or New York. The Guardians do not have the firepower to beat the Yankees. And Shane Beamer is not even, or Shane Bieber, not Shane Beamer. Shane Beamer, you're a really good coach in South Carolina. But Shane Bieber is not a good enough pitcher to beat the Yankees. In fact, he's 1-2 lifetime against the Yankees, and their current lineup that is going to be going up against him tomorrow afternoon is batting over 300 against him. Marwin Gonzalez is batting over 500 against him in 14 at-bats. He's got 7 hits. He has a home run. He has 2 RBIs. Josh Donaldson is batting over 300 against Shane Beamer. He's got, I keep wanting to say Shane Beamer. Shane Bieber, he's got 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. The only thing Bieber has going for him is the fact that Aaron Judge is a big offer against him in 6 plate appearances, and Giancarlo Stanton has only gotten 1 hit against him in 6 plate appearances. That's the only thing that Bieber has going for him tomorrow afternoon in Yankee Stadium. On the other hand, you have Nestor Cortez. Started 2 games against the Guardians. He's got 1 win against them, but the entire Guardians lineup is only batting 118 against him. This Guardians lineup does not have much power. I know you saw 2 home runs for them in the wild card series that gave them the win against the Rays. I know that they were hitting home runs then, but that is not what gets the Guardians on the scoreboard majority of the time. They don't rely on the home run the same way the Yankees do, the same way the Braves do, the same way the Dodgers do. They hit the baseball and they rely on base hits. But when you're batting 118 against a pitcher, that's going to be difficult to do. So you're most likely going to see the Yankees or the Astros in the World Series. Will it be a rematch if the Braves get that far? Or will you get a rematch of 1996 and 1999 if the Braves get that far? We'll find out. Look, the strike zone stream is only going to go as long as the Braves are playing baseball. The moment the Braves season ends, the strike zone wraps up for the season. We will do one last stream after the Braves season is over with. Will it be next Thursday? Will it be 2 Thursdays from now? Will it be in November? We don't know. But one thing you can rely on is the fact that we will be back here next Thursday night. Have a great night. Enjoy the rest of the game. Enjoy the rest of the Preds game. And enjoy Thursday night football. And let's see the Braves go up 2-1 tomorrow afternoon in Philadelphia. Have a great night.